On this episode of RV Shorts, we're going to do a pre-campground or camp procedure we do about a day before we go camping. We plug in the camper and we get the refrigerator going. We have a 110 or gas refrigerator, and sometimes people have the 12 volt, but either way you want to start those a little earlier. So this is a procedure and a few other things of what we do to get ready. One thing we've learned in this new camper setup is that we can actually get our clothes together for a trip and get it all packed in here. Kind of know how long we're going to be. This trip we're going on is a 2-night, 3-day trip, so we've kind of packed accordingly. And we've got a jacket in there for if it gets a little cooler. We're in the first weeks of September, so we've got that all set up and we've got everything loaded up and ready to go. It's nice thing about this is you don't have to live out of a suitcase, so you pretty much pack your clothes in and you're ready to go. So one luxury we have is that we don't have a homeowners association, and where we're at we can park this here at our house all the time. For people that have that kind of setup, I don't know, sometimes maybe they'll let you bring it out a day before and prep it for your trip, and hopefully that's the case, because these type with the propane type refrigerators, they need to be hooked up a day early. So hopefully that in your situation you'll be able to bring it over from your storage and get this type of setup a day before you go on your trip. So the first time when you're plugging into your house, you have to have this adapter, and we'll show you that here. This goes from 30 amp down to your 110, and what this does, it really converts it to either a 15 amp or a 20 amp, depending on what your plug is. And in my particular case, it's just a normal outside plug set up like this, and it's actually a 15 amp circuit that it runs off of. That will power just about everything on this camper. You can run pretty much all the lights, everything in there, and the air conditioner, and the same thing, microwave and all that, but you don't want to run the air conditioner and the microwave, even though you probably wouldn't have any reason to use the microwave in your driveway anyway. So you want to check this circuit to make sure it's at least 15 amps, preferably 20 amps. Also, you want to look and see what's on that, because in my case, there's a lot of stuff on that. This line here actually hooks to all my plugs in my garage. There's 3 plugs in my garage, and if you look in my garage, I also have a freezer back there. So I gotta be a little careful. I've never had it kick off, other than when I'm plugging it in. If you don't plug it in really fast and you've got something drawn on the camper, it may kick it off momentarily. But run the air conditioner off that circuit, no problems, even with the freezer running. So again, I have a newer house, so if your wiring is a little shady, you want to be careful with that. But I've had no problems with that. You do not want to use a standard 2-wire plug extension cord. You want to make sure it's a 3-wire like this. Another thing you want to do is, if you're using an extension cord to extend this out, you want to make sure you have a heavy duty cord. See, I've got one here, it's a 16.3, and this one here is a 12.3. I would stay with that 12.3 or a lower number. That number on the first is the bird you're looking at, that 12 or the 16. The 16 is a smaller gauge and the 12 is the higher gauge. So I'd go with 12 or less, and if you're running the air conditioner, feel this thing every once in a while. If it's hot, then you need to go to a higher gauge, heavier gauge extension cord. Okay, so I've got that electric all hooked up. Going into my house wiring and make sure it didn't kick anything off. Still got the blue light on this. So now after we got everything plugged in, we come into here, into our refrigerator, and what we do is we go ahead and load up anything, any drinks, nothing that's perishable, but anything that drinks wise, we load that up into the refrigerator, and preferably we set it in the refrigerator in the house and get it cold before we put it in here. And that way you already get help out your refrigerator getting cold. So anyway, we got that loaded up with this stuff, and we'll put the other stuff in there tomorrow after it gets fully cold. So anyway, we've got that set up, and in this GeoPro, you've got 2 or 3 setups on here. You can run it in gas only, and you can also run it in the auto. So we've got it. We'll hit this on button right here, and it's in auto right now, so it'll go automatically into the electric mode. So we'll leave it in that electric mode all the way up until tomorrow when we get ready to leave. One other thing we do usually a day or half a day before we leave is we stock up our pantry area. We have these two closet areas here that we use as our pantry, and potato chips in there, and our bread and crackers and stuff in here. So anything we know we're going to use for our different meal planning as we go out, we'll go ahead and stock it in here and have it ready to go. That way we don't have to load it the day of the trip. Well, that pretty much finishes up this video. This is a pre-check of going camping, and tomorrow we will do I will do an episode of the actual pre-tow, and we'll do another video for that pre-tow section. So if you have any more questions about what we do to prepare for a camping trip, please leave it in the comments, and we'll see you next time on RV Shorts.